So this morning we are in Proverbs chapter 31 in our Proverbs series. If you look at all the other chapters, we got chapters 1 through 31. This is our last chapter in the Proverbs series. We have a fantastic series for you to observe, to go through, for you to really get a gist of what Proverbs is about. Some people say you should read a Proverbs a day since there's 31 chapters in the Proverbs. And with months that have only 30 days, read them twice in this case here. So Proverbs 31 pretty much does not need any real introduction, as much as this is a very strong Proverbs that is declared, especially when it comes down to finding the right spouse or the right wife. And it is used by women and men likewise, in the sense that men are looking for a Proverbs 31 woman, and women are wanting to be Proverbs 31 women. And these are very unique people. These are very unique ladies, as we are going to be reading. And I truly believe I found definitely a Proverbs 31 woman, a woman who loves God and honors God and works very hard. And the greatest thing a woman can be is a Proverbs 31 woman, and the greatest thing a man can find is a Proverbs 31 woman. So let's read Proverbs 31. The words of King Lemuel, the utterance which his mother taught him. What, my son, and what son of my womb, and what son of my vows? Do not give your strength to women, nor your ways to that which destroys kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel, it is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princesses intoxicating drink. And of course, he's kind of referring to like, hey, don't get yourself drunk. Don't get yourself intoxicated, whether it is for in reference to women, whether it's for drink or whatever it is in your life. And this is not only for kings, but for everybody, for all people. Don't give your strength to things that are not good for you. And in this case here, this is a mother warning a son like, hey, like don't invest too much in the things that are in this world, okay? It says, lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the justice of all the afflicted. Give strong drink to him who's perishing and wine to those who are bitter of heart. And you kind of said, well, wait a minute here. It says don't give strong drink and stuff like that. And this means like, look, in reference to people who are bitter in heart or people who are going through grieving processes, he's saying like this is the only purpose or the only reason someone would drink is because they're perishing. Give to him who is perishing and wine to those who are bitter of heart. But in our case, we're not perishing and we're not bitter of heart. So it does not give justification, but this is, let him drink and forget his poverty and remember his misery no more. And of course, this is not referring to us, but in certain cases, some people, this is where they drive to. And then it says, open your mouth for the speechless in the cause of all who are appointed to die. Open your mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. And this should be for everybody. I mean, as Christians, we should be people of righteousness, and we should plead the cause of the poor and needy. As a matter of fact, in the letter of James, the Bishop James, when he writes, he says, what is true religion but to remember the orphan and the widow, to remember them and to help them? This is true. This is the true religion. This is the true faith, to remember that the poor and those around us, those are people who are needy. They need God. They need Christ. They need to know that there's hope, and that hope is in Jesus. Verse 10, who can find a virtuous wife? And this is the next few verses are really about what Proverbs 31 is and what is really popular for, what Proverbs 31 is popular for. So it says, who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies. The heart of her husband safely trusts her, so he will have no lack of gain. And this is And this is fantastic, because it really says that a husband who finds a virtuous woman, a husband can safely trust her. And he's like, look, so he's not has no lack of gain. Like, he knows that having such a wife or having such a woman, is going to be productive. She's going to continue doing what God's telling her to do, and she's going to provide and take care of her household, her husband, her finances, and all this. And this would be like, so he will have no lack of gain. This would be like, so he would have no loss of profit. Is pretty much what it means. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. And this is, I know this sounds weird, because what woman doesn't want to do good? But believe it or not, there are women who do men evil that are not good for men. There are women who drive men to the wrong, down a wrong path in a wrong way. I mean, take a look at Ahab and Jezebel. Jezebel was not a Proverbs 31 woman. Jezebel was a woman who was wicked. Look at the Queen Mother Alatalahala, Atahalia. I'm gonna get her. I'll get her name right somehow. There, you know what I mean? Atahalia. So we see that this situation, she'll have no lack of gain. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax, and willingly works. And willingly works with her hand. And this is neat, because what she says is she's constantly laboring, and she's constantly doing things. She's not idle. She's not sitting in front of the television eating bonbons. She's very effective, okay? She likes the merchant ships. She brings her food from afar. She also rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and a portion for her maidservants. And this is neat that she rises while it's still yet night. She's working hard. And this is what she's doing. She's planning ahead. She is ready for the next day. And not only for her, but for all in her household. Verse 16, she considers a field and buys it. From her profits, she plants a vineyard. And again, business-minded. She considers, she looks, she sees. Now, of course, I know that women aren't all real estate agents, but let's think about this. Sometimes when you go shopping, when women go shopping, they grab the fruit, they check the fruit out, they check the watermelon, cantaloupe, vegetables. She considers what she's buying. In other words, she's not just reckless, like she buys everything name brand or she buys everything expensive, but rather she considers what she's buying. And so it may not be a field, it may not be a car, but it could be anything that she buys. She's considering it before she buys it. She girds herself with strength and strengthens her arms. She perceives that her merchandise is good, and her lamp does not go out by night. In other words, she is, again, continually working. She's continually making sure that her household is right and everything. So this is a really great picture of a very productive and frugal woman. And she's profitable for her household and for herself. And I want to make sure that we're very clear on this. This is not a servant woman. This is not a woman who's a slave, or a woman who is being run over or treated badly. But she understands that everything that she does not only for her household, but for herself. So you ask yourself, where's her husband in this? Well, her husband's also working. Her husband's also laboring. Her husband's also out there doing what he needs to do to provide for his household. Meanwhile, the wife is also in her house taking care of her household. And this also for single women, single or single mothers who are one parent households. They are hardworking. They are to provide for their family. This happens. We see this a lot. They go out there. They work 9-to-5 jobs. They come home. They take care of their house. They take care of their kids. This is a hard job for many. But a Proverbs 31 woman is one who's frugal, who's strong, who's profitable, and she seeks God. She stretches out her hands to the distaff, and her hands holds the spindle. She extends her hand to the poor. Yes, she reaches out her hands to the needy. And again, she's not selfish, in other words. It's not just her household, but she sees other people's needs. She's not afraid of snow for her household, for all her household is clothed with scarlet. And scarlet is for warming, an idea of how to stay warm. And she makes tapestry for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. And this is not switching over to what her husband is, as much as her husband is known in the sense that people look at the husband and they go, wow, you have an awesome wife, dude. Your wife loves the Lord. Your wife is seeking God. She's a strong woman. Praise God. And this is a pride that I know I have in my life, that when other women and other people see my wife, they know that she's a strong woman of God. She loves the Lord. She reads her Bible, spends time in prayer, and I'm known to have to be blessed because of my wife. And so it is, having a wife who's a good woman is a blessing. But when you have a wife who's not a good woman, you're gonna know, like, oh man, Jimmy's wife she's or whatever it is, wife is Billy's wife, she's mean, like that poor Billy, man. I don't know how he can live with that woman. I've heard this many times that people like, I don't know how anyone can live with that woman. She's her husband is known. In verse 31, verse 24, chapter 31, verse 24, she makes linen garments and sells them and supplies sashes for her merchants. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and on her tongue is the law of kindness. She watches over the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. And again, a blessed woman. Many daughters have done well, but you excel them all. And this is, again, a praise of like, wow, Now, this is the next part, is so important that people understand. Charm is deceitful. Charm is deceitful, like people who flatter with their lips, deceitful. Beauty is passing. Okay, people are beautiful, in the sense of beautiful, physical appearance is passing. Eventually, one day one day they'll be wrinkled, and not that that's not beautiful, but I'm just saying, a person's not going to be all the ways there all the time. Women spend a lot of time and money trying to keep their youth, but gravity takes a whole toll on people's life, right? We go from like this to like this, everything, okay? But a woman who fears the Lord, now you can't take that away. When you have a person who fears Yahweh, gravity, time, energy, all that, we can never take that away. It says that person, she shall be praised. So, because of that, give her the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. Again, Proverbs 31 woman, a really awesome goal. I know I have 7 daughters, and I tell my daughters, hey, seek to be a Proverbs 31 woman. Let your mom be the example of what it means to be a woman of God, to serve God, to live a life of holiness, of righteousness, of being modest, and how to live, and how to act, and what to do in your life. These are things that all women should seek after, to be a Proverbs 31 woman. And this is all things that men should seek for a Proverbs 31